Hey everybody, Shoebox Legends here. Thanks for joining me today for a very special 400th episode here on the channel. Been cranking out the content over the last year to year and a half here, and I've even amazed myself, I have to say, at hitting 400 episodes here in the late spring or early summer of 2022. And I like to celebrate my even round number, 100 number episodes with kind of a big card from the collection if I can manage it. And it just so happens that I have my big fish card for the month of May to show off. So I figured I would combine that in to this episode number 400, and we'd look at a really big pickup that I have added to my hockey collection earlier this year. So I didn't pick this card up in the month of May, but I did pick it up thinking that it would be my big reveal or big ad card for the month of May. So the line of thinking that I followed in the off season when I was trying to think of, some big cards that I wanted to track down this year, I tried to think of hockey rookie cards. I have quite a few of them in my collection. I'm fortunate enough to have been collecting hockey for, 15 to 20 years now as an adult. And I've covered a lot of bases. I do have the Gretzky and some other big cards. So I wanted to identify kind of what were some of the bigger gaps that were still missing in my hockey rookie collection, on the older vintage side and also on the modern side, because the modern hockey card game has gotten pretty crazy, as a lot of things have over the last 3 years in the hobby during COVID. And I settled on kind of a target for each. And so earlier this year, I showed the Mark Messier rookie card out of 1980 O-Pee-Chee, which was the one that I came up with on the vintage front. He is an all-time great, one of the best leaders in the history of the game. More Stanley Cup rings than he could fit on one hand, I think, or certainly would fill a hand. Led multiple franchises to a Stanley Cup as a captain and was the only player in history to do that. So just a really important card that it felt good to plug in. So it did fill the vintage rookie card hole there. And on the newer front, I started looking at who were sort of the most compelling players that I was missing a rookie card of. I was fortunate enough to land, the Conor Mcdavid rookie, and he's a very similar modern player to Wayne Gretzky in a lot of ways, so kind of had my bases covered there. I've collected Alex Ovechkin for many years, and I'm fortunate enough to have his Young Guns rookie card, but started looking into some other players and have a guy here today who I know a lot of people don't like necessarily, and I kind of didn't for a while either, to be honest with you. But his level of success has been, something that you really can't dispute. He's producing at a very high level, and in one way I think is kind of the more interesting or the most interesting or compelling young player in the game in a different sense. So while Conor McDavid is the king of speed and accumulating points, and someone that I sort of liken to a Wayne Gretzky type player, this individual is someone that I liken more to an Alex Ovechkin type player, and that he is a pure just sniper and goal scorer. So I've droned on here for over 3 minutes. Let's just take a look at the card, and I'll continue talking here. It is the Austin Matthews Young Guns out of 2016-2017 Upper Deck. Really, really pleased to be able to add this card to the collection. It was one that over the last couple of years I was beginning to worry was going to escape me for good. And it's one of the reasons that I chose this one and chose to land this card now while I could afford to do it and all the stars were aligned, because I think his talent level, regardless of how you feel about him, personality-wise or style of play, he is putting up numbers that are likely going to lead to this card really becoming more expensive in the future. And I've already seen that start to happen in the few months since I grabbed this example. I got a PSA 9, and, I settled on this one because it was within my sights. While it is an expensive card, it's something that was at least attainable or reasonable for me, even though it was on the high end of what I could spend on a card. But, I don't have a Gordie Howe rookie, for example, but a low-grade Gordie Howe rookie is going to cost, $5,000, $6,000 to $10,000, somewhere in that range. I just don't have, that kind of cash that I would spend on a sports card for my collection at this point in time. But Austin Matthews, you could get for a few $100s, at least at the time when I I picked this card up, and it's already seen a dramatic increase just in the month or two since I've picked this up, or maybe a few months now. Of course, he had a 60-goal season this year. He was the first Maple Leafs player ever to hit the 60-goal mark. That is not an easy feat in the modern game at all. He is, only the third player in the 21st century to score 60 goals in the NHL. So that gives you some context. And in the modern game, it's a lot tougher to score. That's one of the reasons that I think Alex Ovechkin, even approaching Gretzky's goal scoring record, is just impressive in and of itself. Guys aren't scoring today like at the rate that they did in the high flying 80s and early 90s. But if you look at Matthews' numbers, he's almost putting up those types of numbers. A 60 goal campaign in the modern age is just really impressive. He joins Steven Stamkos and Alex Ovechkin as the only individuals who have done that in the 21st century, as I said. So really, really impressive. And since he broke into the league, he's been in the league 6 seasons now, beginning in the 2016 campaign, and he has scored 259 goals. And in those 6 seasons, that is the most goals that any player has scored in the league. So he has been the best goal scorer in the league since he broke in as a 19-year-old in 2016. That is more goals than Alex Ovechkin by a handful over that time period. Now, obviously, Alex is in his mid-30s throughout that stretch, so you could argue that that's even more impressive that he was even close to Matthews. But the best goal scorer in the league over the last half dozen seasons, and certainly that 60-goal campaign that he just had, while impressive, is not an outlier at all. He has scored over 40 goals 3 times prior to this, including his rookie season where he scored 40 as a 19-year-old kid playing in the NHL and won the Rookie of the Year. And then last year in the COVID-shortened season, he scored 41 goals, which was a league best, and 60 paced the league this year as well. So he has won the Rocket Richard Trophy for most goals scored in 2 consecutive seasons here, his age 23 and age 24 seasons. So this felt like a big hole in my hockey collection just because of his talent level and potential future ceiling on the goal scoring front. Of course, nobody knows what's going to happen. Nobody has a crystal ball. He could get injured next year or just, fall off the radar completely. But I think of all these stars in the modern game today and the young players who have been in the league, 6 years or less, he is the most promising as far as, maybe if health and everything else cooperates, being in the conversation alongside guys like Gordie Howe and Alex Ovechkin and Wayne Gretzky and Jaromir Jagr in terms of the all-time great goal scorers. He's already halfway to the hallowed 500 goal mark. So even if he just lasts another 10 years and has mediocre seasons at best, he'll certainly reach the 500 goal plateau. And it'll be really fun to watch his career and kind of see where he lands, in the end when all is said and done. So happy to have this one in the collection now. I think this could be a super expensive card 5 to 10 years down the line. And so wanted to get it now when it's just a regular old expensive card, and really happy that I did so. He's off to a good start here in the playoffs as well, which has been one of the monkeys on his back. But certainly many, many years left to go for him to try to get a championship and add to that goal total. The season that he just finished up was his age 24 campaign only, so he had the good fortune of starting very, very early at age 19, which is always good for your counting stats. And just a really, really nice card that I'm very, very grateful to be able to add into the hockey collection. And my big card for the month of May in my celebration of one big card a month this year, and a fitting card, I think, for my 400th overall video and episode here on the channel. So really appreciate all of you that spend a little bit of your valuable time each week stopping by here and checking out my collection and listening to my thoughts on the hobby and sports cards over these first 400 episodes. It's been an absolute blast. I love the camaraderie and friendship on this platform, and fully intend to keep this channel going for 400 more episodes and well beyond. So thank you for joining me. And I will certainly be back in the very near future with some more sports card content. Until then, take care.